What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick and it's Fresh Build Friday! That's right, it's that time of the week again where we get you ready for the weekend with a brand new coil build. So who's ready for a brand new coil to try out today? I've got something really fun and exciting and interesting for you guys. And this is something that I saw on Coil Porn's Instagram page the other day. It popped up on the feed and I just thought to myself, I have to try that one out. Basically, it's a stovetop variation. It's kind of a, proof of concept more or less than anything. And you can definitely expand on this later on. But with that, I'll leave the rest of the details for the close-up portion of this video. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Let's grab our mod, our wick, our wire, our addy, our juice, all that good stuff. Let's go down to the close-up view and build it up. Alright guys, so here is the wire that we're going to be using today. It's some Mad Rabbit Nichrome 90. This is 23 gauge. Honestly, I have no idea what this is going to ohm out to or anything. It's just kind of trial by fire here, so let's just go ahead and get into it. So probably going to cut off about 6 or 8 inches or so, my guess. I don't know. Again, this is something pretty new to me. I've practiced this a couple of times just to get the technique down, and it seemed to work okay, so we're just going to wing it here today. Screw it. It's Friday. I'm in a good mood, so, let's just try something new. And I really want to try this because I saw it and I just could not get it out of my head. So the picture that I saw on Coil Porn is my inspiration for this, and I'll put it up on screen right now for you guys to see, but it's a really interesting looking coil. I said to myself, I can do it, so let's just go ahead and try it out today. As you can see here, this is one of my trial runs. It came out okay, but it's a little bit too big still for the RDA, which we're going to be using today, which is the mesh. I really wanted to try it on here because this thing would probably go best for a stovetop coil. I'm going to quit talking, and just get to it here, so let's just go ahead and get started. You're going to need something like needle nose pliers. Flat tooth pliers or no tooth pliers are preferred, but the only ones I have are really wide, so we're just going to go with these cheap Coil Master ones and just kind of wing it from there. So make our first bend here, and we're just going to basically repeat this process over and over and over again until we get a full circle. I forget how many number of loops that they did on the Coil Porn page, but yeah, we're just going to kind of just go with our gut here and see if we can make a coil with, this amount of wire, basically. So yeah, just kind of repeat this process over and over. You're just doing 90-degree bends and back and forth and back and forth. And yeah, so I guess I should probably tell you guys a story or something. Next planned event, I guess? We'll talk about that. I'm planning on going to the Vape Showcase in St. Louis, Missouri. So if you guys are out there, then make sure you come and say hi. Not sure whether I'm going just by myself or with Blaz quite at the moment yet, but either way, I will be there, and can't wait to meet you guys out there. If anyone's from that area and are planning on going, then make sure you stop me, say hi, all that good stuff. For those of you that don't know, the event is the 5th and 6th of January, I believe. That weekend, whatever weekend is right around there. And yeah, so should be a lot of fun. I mean, we had a blast at Vape Showcase in Dallas, so I can't see why this one wouldn't be any different. And yeah, I really am excited about it because I get to see all my friends again. I get to hang out with you guys and experience a new city. I've never been to St. Louis before, so I'm pretty stoked on that. So as you can see here, let's just pause and give you guys an idea of what's going on. As you can see here, it's starting to take shape, but what we're going to end up doing is pinching this piece right here. So really tightly pinching that. And that will give it the sort of gear kind of shape, rounded shape, if you will. Just be careful. You don't want to bend it up too much. And actually, what I'm going to do before I do anything is just kind of bend this piece down. We'll deal with that. We'll clean it up later. So yeah, just kind of pinch these segments here, and you start seeing the rounded shape, as you can see. Yeah. All right. It's almost there, honestly. We're probably only going to get to about 2 more of these little gear peg things. What do you call them? Cogs? I don't know the word for that. I don't know. Oh my god. Sometimes I don't even know. I don't even know. As you guys know, I pre-record these videos on Thursday nights, so for me, it's, you know, late at night, and I'm feeling a bit giggly, so forgive me, but yeah. Alright, I think we might be able to squeeze one more in. We'll try for one more. I really hope this is not going to be too big. If it's going to be too big, I'm going to kick myself. Because my practice one was too big, and I was just like, damn it. Couldn't fit it in the RDA. So sometimes it's good to have two pairs of pliers as well, so you can really crank it down. Crank it down. Luckily, this wire is very malleable. It's very workable wire, and it's easy to just kind of manipulate it however you want. So that is a really good thing. Man, I don't know. It's looking a little bit large here, large and in charge. So I'm going to have to double check this real quick and see if we can shrink it down a little bit, probably. Like I said, trial by fire. Sometimes you learn by doing, you know what I mean? That's definitely the type of person that I am. Whoa! Sometimes you mess up a few times in between, but I can almost guarantee this is going to work. How about that? Like, I'm at like a probability of about 85% right now. And prognosis is looking good. So yeah, let's just hold that up once again. There you can see the basic shape coming to life. We're also going to just basically flatten it by kind of going across all the different little spokes there. Spokes? Whatever. I don't know. I'm going to finish up the last few things here. We'll get it straightened out, and then we'll try it out. Alright guys, so here is what we came up with. Honestly, I am pretty excited about it. It's pretty good. I think it looks alright. I think it's going to work, and it's just the right size. If we just put it on top here, you can see that it fits in there just barely. I think we're going to have just enough cap clearance here, and we're going to make it work. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it work. You know what? It might not work right off the bat, but we're going to make it work. So what I'm going to do is just tighten down this lead here. Just clamp it in there real nice and tight. And then kind of line up the other side and do the same thing. Just like that. Now, it's kind of touching the deck here, so we're going to have to lift it up a little bit. We're going to have to kind of manipulate it ever so slightly. I think we're just going to have to mess around with it until it just goes in just right. So I think this one has to kind of, yeah, that's okay. Yep. That's it. That's the ticket. Now it's working. Now it's all coming together. I think right about there is good. Might have to lift up a little tiny bit on the outer ones here. Pedals, I guess you could call, I don't know. What would you guys call these kind of leads here? Alright guys, so I did have to manipulate it a little bit more than I thought I would, so the shape is a little bit off, but you can kind of see how it came out there. It doesn't look too bad, especially not from the top, and honestly, I feel like it's going to perform well as well here. So let's just go ahead and fire this thing up. As you can see here, it came out to 0.24 ohms at the moment. Let's go ahead and heat it up and see what the final resistance is. So switch it over to fire mode here and just test it out. I'm going to just gently pulse it. Ooh. And you can see that lovely gold color. That's one thing I really absolutely love about Nichrome 90 is the colors that you get out of this stuff here. If I hit that fire button a little bit more, it's going to turn to like that deep blue and purple. Really, really cool stuff. There we go. So now the blues and purples are coming out. Alright, battery has been changed. Let's see what we can do with this thing here. And wow, the resistance jumps around a lot. Okay, there you go. Now it's really heating up. The resistance really is jumping around a lot. Wondering if that's because just the overall shape, it's not as compact and it has a lot more room to flex. I mean, it doesn't seem to be moving around all that much, but you can see that the resistance is kind of bouncing up and down here. Yeah, but otherwise it fires up just nice, you know, as you can see. Let's just bring that a little bit closer to the camera. It's firing up pretty darn nice, so let's just see how this thing wicks and vapes, I guess. Alright guys, so it is all wicked up, and as you probably noticed in that little fast forward section there, I struggled with the wicking with this one. Honestly, I didn't know which way to attack it. I was going, you know, through the middle and trying to cut it around and swirl it around, something like that, but since there's no like center post, there's no, you know, anchor point in the middle for me to just kind of swirl it around, it was getting a little bit difficult, so I ended up doing two different strands of cotton with this one. One basically just kind of going on one half of the coil, the other going underneath the other half, and that's what I ended up doing for the final one here. Once I got it all juiced up, the cotton started kind of almost shrinking back a little bit, so what I did is basically just took my screwdriver and poked it down a little bit into the bed of cotton. So it actually works out quite well. The airflow is just barely showing here, and nothing's really riding up the wall too much or anything like that. But I know it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's go ahead and vape this thing. The final resistance came out to 0.23 ohms, and let's go ahead and vape it. Okay, so it's a bit of a sizzler, and there's not a lot of vapor coming out of it, but I could probably see this one performing well once the airflow gets moving through it. Really, that's the, you know, the bread and butter for this particular coil here. So let's go ahead and try this thing out. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this one, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the build section of the video. Now let's talk about the coil that we just put in this mesh RDA here. And yes, it was definitely an adventure for both you and I with this one here, because honestly, going into it, I had no idea what to expect. But you know what? I'm pleasantly surprised by the outcome. So with that, I have no idea even what to call this thing. I'm probably going to name it something ridiculous, but let me know in the comments box below what you would call this particular type of coil. It's some sort of variation on a stovetop, but it's definitely far from the original. That's to say the least. But with that, the final resistance came out to 0.23, 0.24. It kind of changes depending on how hot the coil is. And I'm currently vaping it at 90 watts. I actually bumped it up a little tiny bit there just to get a little bit more vapor production out of it. So moving on, my first category, as always, is the heat. The heat factor on this one really isn't that much of an issue. However, there is another issue at play here, and that is the distance between the cap itself and the coil. So with that, since the proximity is so narrow with this one here, the actual barrel section heats up quite a bit, and so does the top cap section as well. So with that, I would definitely keep my lips away from this one. Using this little shorty drip tip on there probably isn't the best idea, so I'm probably going to seek out a slightly taller 810 drip tip for this one. But with that being said, it's not that much of an issue as far as the heat off the coil itself. And for my second category, which is the ramp up and ramp down time, the ramp up time is about the 3/4 of a second mark. It does take a little bit to get it going. I feel like that number could be reduced by raising up the wattage a little bit, but I do kind of fear a dry hit with this one. And with every stovetop that I ever make, it's kind of that constant fear that the cotton's not quite touching the coil and you're going to get a massive dry hit. So with that, the ramp up time is a little bit on the longer side, but let's go ahead and check out the ramp down time. So the ramp down time isn't very long, at about 2 to 3 seconds or so, which is just below the average, I would say. So it passes the test in my book. However, you do have to keep this thing pretty saturated. It's a lot of cotton in there, so you really have to juice it up, and especially with this mesh RDA, the air holes are pretty much on level with the actual coil, so if you over drip this one even a little tiny bit, it's going to spill out those airflow holes. For my third category today, which is the difficulty of this build, this one I'd say is for the moderately experienced builder. I would say the newbies should keep away from this one just because there's a lot of short factors coming into play here. If you touch one of those legs to the bottom of the deck, or if you touch the outside of the cap, then it could cause a lot of problems. So with that, I would say, you know, if you're used to stovetop builds, then definitely give this one a shot. However, if you've never done one before, then stay away from it. And for my final category, which is the flavor on this build, today I've got some of this Old Loco salsa grape loaded up, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I never thought I'd be into this sort of flavor. It's a white grape and green apple. On the inhale, I get the crisp, light notes of the white grape. It's very tart and refreshing. On the exhale, I get a lot of that sweet and sour sort of green apple flavor. Overall, the flavor is pretty darn good on this build, but it's nowhere near compared to the Fuse Clapton coils that I normally go with, so I would say it's kind of on the higher middle echelon of flavor, but with that, I still recommend you guys try this out at home. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Don't forget to click that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. Big shout out to you guys in the notification squad for getting here early. Also, leave me some comments in the box below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this build. What would you guys call it? I want to know. Also, check out the description of this video. That's where you're going to find the advocacy and my social media links. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and as always, vape on.